Hey guys, Tim McGoldrick here from LureAddicts.com. Over the last 6 days we've been based in New Zealand. We flew into Auckland last Thursday and travelled over to Coromandel to go kayak fishing with Rob Fort from Coromandel Kayak Fishing Adventures. And for 3 of those days we've been based out of a mothership, out of the Wairoa, and we've had Captain Pete McKenzie here taking us around a couple of the islands, and that was for the first 3 days, and the last 2 days that we've been based off the land and launching from there. But I'll go into it a little bit more with Pete about what we've been doing. The first night we came in, we went over to Kennedy Bay and stayed at Pete's house over there that he's got. And if you want to tell us a bit about the house, Pete.
Yeah, well, the house is, I've been in it since my parents bought it when I was 15 as a little batch, and we had no power and no electricity, but I've sort of added bits on here and there and got the power and everything sorted. And I didn't imagine that I'd be able to live there full time, but I ended up by starting up commercial fishing, and ever since then I've been there. So after 25 years commercial fishing, we decided to call it a day and become reformed, and we've gone into the charter fishing industry and the charter in general industry, because we do all sorts of charters. We've seem to be specialising in kayak fishing, and I've teamed up with Rob Fort, who's a bit of an expert in the field. So between us we seem to know a thing or two about
the fishing around here.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Pete's house, it's called Lazy Days. If you want to look it up, it's on a website called bookabatch.co.nz, and you can book it out for short stay holiday accommodation. But it's based on one of the estuaries out at Kennedy Bay, and gives you fantastic access to get over to the mothership and then get out into these islands. So Pete, where we're going from there, can you just tell us a bit about where we went first? And
yeah, the first day we went out to Kayak Island. It's sort of one of my favourite places because it's fairly remote.
That's this one here, isn't it?
That's the one out there, yeah. It's fairly remote and it cops weathers from every direction. There's quite a nice anchorage in the southwestern corner. It's called Shark Bay, and you'll find out a bit later why. One of the boys hooks up a bit of a shark in there, but the sharks patrol the current line there quite often, and you can see them during the day. There's a lot of different sort of fish out there, from harpooker, kingfish, snapper, and a lot of reef species live there, so they can actually, along with the leather jackets, can give you baits a hell of a hammering. So jigs work quite well out there.
But speaking of the jigs, Bite Fishing over here in New Zealand supplied us with a heap of jigs. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to test them out too much. We hit a few spots around Curvy, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just couldn't find them at all.
Well, we looked on the sounder, and I didn't see any on the sounder. We put it confirmed that by putting the jigs over, and when there was nothing on the sounder, there was nothing on the jigs. So there wasn't much. It's very much feed there. What's happening here is the water temperature's changed a bit in the last little while. It's dropped about 1.5 degrees, and I think the fish go through in waves, and we were just in between the waves. There's still fish up in the Hauraki Gulf. There's fish moving out to sea, and something prompts them and they do a bit of a circuit. They sometimes come right into Kennedy Bay and school up in the harbour, and then clean that out of feed, and then when the feed goes there they just chase it slowly out to sea.
We had some really good snapper fishing around there. Wes and myself dropped some absolute stonkers on there. We just weren't able to stop them, and Brad, one of the other guys, was with us who knew Rob. I think he got up to about a 15 pounder out of Curvia. And then from there, we went out to was it the Mercury Islands?
Yeah, Great Mercury Islands. Mercury Islands is much tamer than Curvia, being closer to the shore, and there's lots of shelter. So, we had a pretty good storm there, 45 knot gust winds, and we were up.
Rain.
Yeah, it was pouring down, but we're up in the cove up in here, and on a mooring, and just like you wouldn't have even known you're on a boat. It's just apart from the wind, it was just dead flat, and it's very safe. There's always somewhere you can fish around that area. It's it's seasonal like everywhere else, and it has its good times and its bad times, but there's always somewhere you can get to hide. And
that's what I found sort of just over the last couple of days, that no matter what the weather's doing, we've been able to get out of it somewhere. Today got a little bit funny, but that was okay. We sort of got that big gust come through in the afternoon, but we were able to tuck in and get out of that eventually.
Being an island nation and having lots of peninsulas, the weather forecasters just seem to have a really hard job getting it right, because they have to sort of time the fronts when they cross over, and they can be just a little bit early, a little bit late, and just get it horribly wrong. So you go out there and you hope for the best, and you make the best of the opportunities that are available to you. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes they predict good weather and it isn't, and vice versa, but you've just got to go and give it a go. And I like to do a 3-day trip, because it's never rough for 3 days. On the converse, it's really never calm for 3 days either, so but there's always times.
You might get 1 day out of it.
Yeah, people ask me where you're going to go, and I tell them possibly there, but on the day you put your nose out and you look at the swell, and you look at the clouds, and you listen to the weather forecast, and you make a decision on the day. I don't like to promise I'm going to go anywhere before I've actually left, because you just don't really know.
And that's the thing, our plans changed minute by minute as we were going along, and just what was happening. So from Mercury Islands, on the third and final day, we headed back towards sort of the mainland, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we were actually pulling out because the weather forecast was absolutely shocking, and there was a big swell running.
What was it, about 2 metre swell?
About 2 metre swell from the north.
With chop on top of that too.
With chop, and I thought, well, you guys in the kayaks are going to get hammered, so
yeah,
we'll just bail out, we'll just go home and find something, we'll come out and take you somewhere else. But halfway across I changed course, because I don't think this wind's coming, and the swell isn't that bad, and there's just a little place, there's a little spot of shelter called 3 Stone Bay where we could get to. So we went in there and anchored up and got you guys off for another fish.
Yeah, and that's where Wes and I went in, and we were fishing in the washes. We pulled some good snapper out of there, and the other guys went a bit wider, and Brad got a gurnard out there, and there'll be a photo of that floating around somewhere. And yeah, that was fantastic in there. It was nice and protected. We didn't get any of that stuff we were getting on the way through. And then from there we just headed back to Kennedy Bay, unpacked the boats, went back to Lazy Days. Over at Pete's house. Yeah, lit the fire.
Warmed up.
Had a bit warm.
Dried out.
And spent the night there, and then we came over to Coromandel, over to Pete's other place here, which is Wairoa Magic.
Wairoa Magic, yeah.
That's also on bookabatch.co.nz, and that's where we've been now for the last 2 nights. And it's a really good accommodation. Everyone should check it out.